Hello, welcome in everyone. We're just gonna get us started in 2 minutes. Omar is also logging back. Yeah, it came twice, but it's fine. No worries. It's not a big deal. Please put in the chat if you guys can hear me pretty well. All who are already logging, Jeff, Rafael, Sophia. Tell us where you guys are connecting from. What city are you guys connecting from? Boston, from Miami, or any other country if you're traveling from Mexico, Latin America. Nice. Yeah. So, okay, 2 minutes. I think we're gonna go get started. Thank you, Mar, for accepting this invitation today. My name is Alberto Palares, and I'm the Director of Health and Wellness to ALPFA Boston. I'm gonna give overview of ALPFA Boston, and then we're gonna jump into the conversation with Jorge Flores, one of my best friend here. I can say that now, and a past board member of ALPFA Boston, who is also a tremendous community leader in the area. So as you know, or for those who don't know about ALPFA, ALPFA stands for the Association of Latino Professionals for America. It was the first Latino association of professionals founded back in the 1975 in LA, California. And since then, we have been rocking. It's been 50 years so far. We're here to empower Latino professionals and make them leaders of character of the nation and in every single sector of the economy. I can say I can testify myself that I'm not the same professional Latino 4 years ago when I joined ALPFA, because my network, my friends, and my professional skills have improved a lot thanks to this amazing platform and community that we have in Boston. If you haven't attended any convention, I strongly recommend to do that. We just came back from the National Alpha Convention in Orlando, Florida. We have more than 3,000 attendees from every sector of the economy. You meet with young professionals, with seasonal professionals in every sector of the economy: technology, government, education, banking services. So I strongly encourage you to think about next year. It's going to be in San Antonio, Texas. A little bit about ALPFA Boston. ALPFA is a leading chapter across the country. We have over 10,000 members and more than 30 industries, and we have 8 student chapters across the Commonwealth. Some of the lead partners of our chapter are State Street, Mass Mutual, Easter Bank, and those are the ones who also make possible these type of events. With that being said, I'm gonna turn it over to Jorge and Omar to set the table for you guys to talk about Omar's journey as a professional soccer player in the United States, but also as a Latino and Mexican American. So without further ado, the stage is all yours, Jorge and Omar.
Thank you so much, ALPFA Boston, Alberto, for inviting me to lead this very prestigious panel. Omar, great to have you here. I can certainly back up the words that Alberto said in terms of how we really help at ALPFA transform young professionals to full-on professional con ganas, no? So a little bit about today for our audience. I want to kind of take us through a journey. This is a mental health and well-being panel. So what I thought we'd do is maybe get a couple words from Omar. I'm going to just kind of fire chat. There's no real straight format. I have some ideas of what we should cover, but Omar, let's hear who you are. For those of you that don't know, Omar is a Mexican American futbolista. Has a great career that, from what I read, was starting from college, and I want to kind of dig in a little before that, and we want to get to know Omar from his earlier days. So Omar, why don't you walk us through your journey in football and what got you apasionado and what really brought you to the sport, and at what point you felt you wanted to take it to the next level?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you, Eberto and Jorge, for having me on. I'm really excited to be here chatting with all of you. Before I got the invitation, I had no idea about ALPFA, and now that I'm here, I just want to say what a great organization it is, because everyone needs help to get along in their career. And the fact that this board is here putting this together for all these professionals throughout the US and abroad is just incredible. So let me just say thank you for having me. And a little bit about myself. I'm from Dallas, Texas, born from two Mexican parents from the Monterrey area. And I grew up in Dallas, Texas. And that's where I started my journey, my dream of becoming a professional soccer player. It was at the '94 World Cup at the Cotton Bowl. My mom signed up to help work one of the concession stands at the Cotton Bowl. Just finding any way to help get her family a ticket to go to the game. And that's what she did. Any way for us to be able to get to have these experiences. And so I got to go to a game, and I got to feel firsthand of what the passion was like, what the atmosphere was like, everything surrounding the beautiful game of football. And so that's when I said, I want to be on that field one day. I want to play in the World Cup. And that's
Omar,
where my
how
journey
old were
started.
you at that age? At what point, how old were you at that point?
I was 6 years old.
6 years old. Wow. That was a great World Cup. I caught a game there with my dad as well, supporting El Tri, Mexico, out of, we went to the Orlando. Remember, we drove up for the day, and it was quite an experience to see so many people, so many nationalities. And I could definitely feel the energy that you would certainly be attracted to, be like, this is my jam. This is what I want to do.
Exactly.
So that's awesome. Omar, at what point did you feel like, I think I could make a career out of this? Did you go through like the Saturday leagues, the weekend leagues, and then eventually the club teams, or did you just kind of hop into it and wait for high school and then kind of go from there? Tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I started out playing at 4 years old, and exactly like you said, it was rec soccer. It was right there every Saturday, Sunday. All my family echándole porras, just like a typical like Mexican community. And I was a part of a team, and I played there from 4 years old till 11 years old with the same team, same coach, but it came a time where I had to leave that team. I had to take the next step, and it was an interesting moment because I'm from Oak Cliff, Texas, a little suburb 10 minutes south of downtown Dallas. So it's South Dallas, and all the club soccer and everything was North Dallas, where a lot of the white families live and more money. And so at some point I had to make that switch, and it felt weird because I was leaving all my friends. I was leaving all my Mexican friends, all my community, to go venture off and play club soccer with a new community, which was all white people and everything. So it was very I didn't think about it like this then, but
Sure.
Now that I've had time to, grow up and really think about it, it costs a lot of money to play club soccer. My family did not have that money. And so I joined the Dallas Texans on a scholarship. One of the families paid for me to play.
That's beautiful.
Because I was a good player then. And so thankfully, still very much grateful to that family who paid my way, because look where I am now. Had that not happened, maybe I would have stayed in the little rec league and just stayed in that little community in Oak Cliff and just maybe never left. So
that's wonderful. So actually I want to pivot here because you bring up some good points. I think, growing up myself, I didn't really feel Latino. I just felt like just one of the guys. I didn't really feel like that way until I started, entering different circles. You notice it, but it's not really affected unless you're brought up with that. But being that this is kind of a mental health and kind of like understanding diversity and inclusion, walk us through a little bit of how you transitioned into the, soy el único mexicano aquí, o sea, I'm the only Mexican here. How do I assimilate? Did anything change in your mentality, and how did you make that adjustment?
Honestly, it felt very, I mean, in the moment, like my dad was a truck driver, always working. My mom, you know, she worked at a school, a teacher's aide, and I have 3 other siblings who were all involved in sports. So, you know, my mom was busy driving my other brothers and sisters who were older than me around town for their sports. And so I always had to go and spend the night at a teammate's house, you know, in North Dallas. And so, you know, that was all very different for me. I got to see bigger houses and nice things and electric toothbrushes. I mean, just stuff that I was like, all new to me. I didn't know any of this stuff. And so it was very eye-opening. And I was like, I want this when I'm older. You know, the way that these people are living, it's something that I just wasn't accustomed to. And, you know, my mom and dad raised me right. So, I mean, I was always a good guest. I always took care of myself and cleaned up after myself, and, you know, just made sure that I was a good guest and things like that. And, but yeah, it was all very interesting. And honestly, the past couple of years during the pandemic, where we all had a chance to maybe go inside and soul search a little bit, I feel a little bit of shame because, you know, those first 11 years of my life was my Mexican community. I was all family, cousins, that tight little community. And then I had to leave to go play club soccer, where every weekend I was away. There was no time for friends, because when you pursue something so greatly, you know, where you aspire to reach a professional level, you make a lot of sacrifices. You don't go to parties. You go to do this because you're always playing. You're always practicing. And you know, then I just started hanging out with all my white friends, and I didn't do all the stuff that I did when I was younger. And so all that kind of I had to forget about that and just sort of get thrown into this other life. And it wasn't until recently where I was like, man, like, that sucks that I had to do that. You know, I had to stop.
But you recognized it. You recognize the point where you now are able in a position to provide for your family, which is very important. And these are part of the sacrifices that our parents made for us, as well as you made for, you know, a respect to thank you for making those sacrifices. You're now in a position where, all right, I can breathe. I got, you know, I have resources that I can do to help things. And now is a great opportunity to lean into your Latinidad. No, I think something similar happened to me, even professionally. And I mean, it's a function, I think, of we're growing up in this country and, you know, trying to assimilate, but at the same time, understanding and appreciating our identity as Latinos. And so I wouldn't necessarily use the word ashamed, because I think you've given up a lot to respect the parents that gave up a lot to give you these opportunities. And I think it's a beautiful journey. I kind of want to ask you a little bit about like college, because I think that's really where it's like, all right, that's where you're going to get scouted. That's going to be like the moment of truth. Was, as they say, the proverbial, was the squeeze, was the juice worth it? Was the juice squeeze worth the juice, you know, of all those sacrifices? Tell us a little bit about college and kind of mentally preparing yourself for that as well.
Yeah, well, before I went to college, I left home like my sophomore year, because I got invited to play for the U.S. national team, the youth national team, the U17s. So I moved to Florida to play for them, and we went to a Youth World Cup, which was in Lima, Peru. And actually, that gave me the opportunity to get scouted by colleges, and more so than anything. So from Florida, I moved to Maryland. And that's where things really started taking off. You know, it was a whole new experience, right? College is amazing, and you really got to find yourself. You're there alone. You're allowed to get into a little bit of trouble. They're there to take care of you. But I found my way and performed really well. did pretty well in school, and it was my junior year when I decided to leave school early to become a professional soccer player. And I entered the draft and got picked number 3 overall to the LA Galaxy, where I spent the next 7 years of my life there in LA.
Boy's got skills. Congrats. That's awesome. What a feat. No, I played in college, and not to the level that you did, but I can certainly attest, having grown up, playing sports and having a family that supported you along the way, and always putting an emphasis on education first. They said that you break a leg, that's it. Like, what are you going to live on? And so it's a gamble you take, and we had to balance that as well. And I think in that comes a lot of psyche. Because being a professional athlete, it's not just showing up in front of these big crowds and you dazzle them. It's what people don't see behind the scenes, right? It's the waking up at 5:30 in the morning, get your day started. I believe you're a father, correct? Right?
I am, yeah. Three
supporting
young
the
ones.
family, getting the dad duties in where you're not a soccer player, you're just dad.
Exactly.
And mentally preparing yourself for the day that comes ahead. Walk us through a little bit of like your how do you prepare yourself? Like, what's part of your routine to kind of get going and just go to the office? It's cool that, for many years I had to wear a suit to work, and that was my uniform. Your suit is far more interesting, your uniform, because, it's showing up as shorts, but it's not chancleando all day. I got to go to work. So walk us through a little bit on like your daily routine and how you mentally prepare yourself for the day, knowing that you have Omar the dad, Omar the teammate, and then Omar being Omar. What are you doing to take care of yourself?
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of different hats, right? So first, Omar the father, I just try and do whatever I can when I'm home to be with the family, and I love just being here and not having to think about work. And the great thing is I have a very supportive wife who allows me to do what I needed to do to get myself ready for the field. And so that really has been the key to a lot of my successes, because I have a strong rock in my wife, the foundation there. And so, when I'm away, when I'm playing, she's taking care of the family. We have 2 girls and now a newborn son, and so it's about the partnership that we have. It's about the teamwork. And so, when I'm at home, I try and do bedtime. I love cooking. I try and help with the cooking, but she does a lot of, or takes care of a lot of the load.
Huge. Yeah.
And then when I come home from training, I also like to spend time recovering as well, so I can go again the next day and the same energy and do it all over again. And so she allows me the time to take an hour or two to do my recovery and everything I need to do to make sure that I'm good to go for the next day. And so that's a little bit of what goes into my life, being at home and then going into work.
And how do you, so I guess, do you have like a personal routine to kind of like your mindset routine, or kind of what I like to call headspace, to just kind of clear your mind and focus on the things, especially preparing for game day in particular? Walk us a little bit through that, and any tips you can give to the audience would be fantastic, because I think we're all, in a professional setting, we all have a game day, right? Every day is a game day. You got to produce, regardless of, whether you're a family man or a family woman, or, the only breadwinner. We still have to kind of get our focus on. And I'd love to hear kind of your insights in terms of like, how do you block out the noise? How do you center yourself and then execute?
Yeah, it's not easy when we're all judged on our performance, right? And it's always, what have you done for me, lately? All the good work you do, people forget about. And so you have to come every single day. You have to show up and do your job, and that can be very stressful. And I can say that I do not do it alone. In time of stress, I do have a sports psychologist that I talk to. I seek out help. I seek out a sounding board somewhere, someone to just get all my thoughts out, because if I don't, I hold it in, and it just becomes very toxic. So if you can find someone to talk to, that can be very beneficial. It helps me tremendously. And then just finding the time to yourself. You know, I practice mindfulness as well. So taking, minutes throughout the day, doesn't matter when. Sometimes I do it before bed. If I forget to do it throughout the day, sometimes I forget entirely that day, and I just have to be forgiving of myself and say, you know what, it's all right, and just do it and start all over again the next day.
I think that's the truth.
It is.
Yeah, I think that's important. You bring up a really interesting point, and this is something that I have felt very strongly about for many years, and it's asking for help, right? Many of us are very proud, and many times, we feel that, because, we're either a minority in the workplace, that we can't say anything because we'll be seen as weaker. But I think, over the last few years, I've definitely seen a stronger push towards mental wellness, right? Or just well-being. And I think part of that begins with us, the individual, saying, I need help. I need the brain dump, and whether it's a piece of paper or, like you said, someone that is qualified, I think is more important than just a friend, saying, the things that are bothering you. I think a trained professional is very, very useful, because it helps you kind of walk out and soundboard like the things that you're having, maybe it's just verbalizing it so that you can walk yourself through to the next piece of like, all right, it's not that bad, or it's something that can easily be overcome if I just X, Y, Z, right? But I appreciate you bringing that up, because I think that many times we forget to focus on ourselves and ask for help. As a competitive, like, I guess as a professional futbolista or soccer player, what do you find to be like some of the hardest mental challenges, and how do you overcome those?
I think some of the hardest mental challenges is when things don't go your way, and say you're at the end of a bad play, or you do something that cost you the game, or things like that. Those are the times, when your true character shows, how quickly you can bounce back. And so you need all those tools that you work with a psychologist with, that give you these tools to help you during these moments. Because sometimes, it's a scheduled call every month or something, and you're there, you have 5 games in a month, or, whatever it may be. You need to be prepared for these moments. And so you got to be able to just bounce back really quickly, have a short memory, believe in yourself, because you belong. I think that's a big piece to it as well, is that you belong here just as much as the next guy. And so you don't need anyone else's approval, because you're there for a reason. And so just a lot of these reminders is key. And I think now, this day and age, it's even harder because of social media. I really do not like social media. There came a point when I just, I still have my accounts activated, but I don't check them. They're just
let
toxic.
the team deal with them. I think we met a lot of the Revs last week for an event that we did, Capitán Futuro, and we got to meet your marketing media, and he's like, I do all the social media, and I think it's great if you just automate it, because the best part is you got a job to do, and you can't afford to really focus on noise. Your job is, I got to show up and be present. I love what you said about having a short-term memory, because you're on almost every day. How many games a week do you play, or your schedule?
It could be up to 3 games a week.
Right. So, I mean, you have a bad game. Okay, move on. Like, all right, here's what I would change. Reflect. Don't beat yourself up, right? Be kind to yourself is what we preach and what we say. Just be gentle, be kind, understand where it went wrong, and, and try to analyze. All right, I could probably have done a little better. I should not have had that extra, tequila last night with dinner. That's my fault. Now I know I can't do that. And having that short-term memory, and then looking forward. And I think that's really the performance and the athlete's mentality, right? It's just brush it off. Because I would have to think that as a professional athlete, you build a lot of resilience, not just physically, but mentally, right? You hear a lot of outside noise, and obviously getting the approval and the acceptance is always a great thing. That's what kind of those attaboys or those attagirls, right? Like, that's what kind of perks us up. But it's really just having a thick skin and be like, all right, I know what I got to do. I don't need the outside world or, my teammates tell me what I did wrong. I know what I did wrong. I'm at a professional level. I think we can all understand that. And it's just how you get past that, right? And I love, again, back to what you said, the short-term memory. I have a question here from Rafael. He wants to know, what are you looking forward to at this point in your career?
At this point in my career, I think I'm looking forward to still performing, as well as I can, and getting on the field as much as I can. But I know that I'm in the latter part of my career, and so I'm looking forward to being ready, to being prepared for when my name is called, to being a good teammate, being a good mentor, helping the younger players around me, help them achieve what they want to achieve, being a good teammate, and overall just enjoying my time. I think that's some of the hardest things to do, is just enjoying it, because you get caught up in things, and for me right now it's been very, very difficult, to be honest, because last year I played a lot of minutes, and this year I'm not playing a lot of minutes, but it's still finding the joy in what you do. Yeah. and finding a way to go to the office and still try and learn something new, and still trying to get that 1% better. And that's what drives me. And so I still am excited about that. And I still am looking forward to seeing how much better I can get with the few years I have left.
Nice. No, I think that's right. And I think and this is a game where injuries happen in the blink of an eye. And, next thing you know, Omar, you're up. And it's like, all right, and you got to be ready to perform they had a warm up at the beginning, and then you're coming off the bench in that respect. And it's like, you got to go on. And I think that's where we can really shine. I have a question here from Jeff. Wants to know, what professional accomplishments are you most proud of?
The professional accomplishments that I'm most proud of, well, first, reaching my dream and playing in a World Cup in 2014, playing with the U.S. men's national team in Brazil. My championships I won in LA and also in Pachuca when I was playing down in Mexico. Yeah, just all the championships that I've won, those are all unique and take a lot of just grit to get to win a championship. It's a long year, and you go through a lot of ups and downs and injuries and this and that. And so a lot of cool stories went into every single championship.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Congratulations for those championships. Those don't come easy. And
no, they do not.
As we saw with the New England Revolution last year, undefeated, and it's like, so close as a team. And that's the beauty of sports, right? Anything can happen at any time. It's everyone's game, and it's not any one factor that determines the winner. It's the collective, right? And I think that that just leaves you hungry for more competition and more hunger to fight and to really kind of help lift each other up. I have a question about diversity and inclusion in the workplace. How do you has it differed from team to team? And tell us a little bit about your experiences. And are you a vocal voice to elevate diversity on the team, or is it more of I don't know, just share with us a little bit about your experience with DEI?
Well, I feel like a soccer team in general have always been diverse, because it's a sport played all over the world, and different players get transferred to different leagues. And so throughout my whole career, we've always had players from all over the world. Sweden, all the Latin American countries, Denmark, and all over Europe. Always very diverse, and it's even getting more diverse because more players want to come play here in MLS. And so that's been the most beautiful part, is just getting to know players from all over the world, getting to know them, their story, And I think over the past couple of years, with everything that's happened, with Black Lives Matter and inclusion and equity, there's been more voice towards those topics, and the more you talk about it, I think the better, because then people are more aware, and when you know better, you do better. And so moving forward, I think it's all very positive.
Awesome. I have a question here from La Presidenta of ALPFA Boston. So I'd be remiss if I didn't address this question. It's a two-part question, Omar. What is the biggest misconception about being a professional athlete? And then was there ever a point during your career when you considered pivoting and getting what some of us would consider and I air quote here, a regular job? Thank you, Isis, for those questions.
What's the biggest? Well, thank you for the questions, Presidenta. Let me see. The biggest misconception, that we have it easy. I don't know, that we get to just play, just do what we love, and just like that, we should be happy. But I think that's it. We're more than just the sport we play. I think the question I ask myself a lot is, who I would be with if I didn't have soccer. And I think that question is more important than anything, because if I didn't have soccer, well, I'm still a good human being. I'm very generous. I'm genuine. Though all those things are more important than what I do for a living. I think my value comes from who I am, and not from what I do. And so the biggest misconception is just that I should be happy just playing soccer and that's it. And just no, there's more to it than that. And your second question, has there ever been a point in my career where I just wanted to pack it up and get a regular job?
Or when you considered pivoting and getting what some of us would consider a regular job?
Well, that thought is coming into my brain a lot more recently, just because I'm 33. I know it's not old, but for my sport, I'm getting up there. I've got a lot of miles in these legs. I'm a bigger guy, and so I'm moving a lot of weight, and so just at some point, I had to start thinking, what's going to come after, and so the thought is more recurring as time goes on, and so yeah, I'm thinking about it now.
Yeah, no, it's a thank you for the candid answer. There's never an easy one to address, but I think it's the reality, and I think you can always count on the support from your Familia here.
Yeah, thank you very much.
For us, it's very important to elevate the next wave of Latino professionals, whether it's sports, sciences, banking, finance. For us, the responsibility rests on ourselves to lift each other up, regardless of where you are in your career, and helping open doors for each other. So, you can definitely count on us. And, we have a great organization, and you have some great leadership here, as you see. I have a question from Jafet. So his question is, being in the same team for a long period of time, I imagine you form trust, bonds, and relationships that are not easy to leave behind. How have you managed transitioning teams yourself, or when someone close to you is traded? Ooh, that's a great question.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, because AJ De La Garza is one of my teammates here at New England, and we went to college together. Spent 3 years there together. We went to LA together, 7 more years. So 10 years together that we were together, and we formed an amazing friendship, bond, brotherhood, whatever you want to call it. And then I went to Mexico, but that friendship hasn't ended. It just keeps going. And so no matter if you're traded, if you switch leagues, what have you, if the friendship is real, then you'll continue that. If not, then it was what it was, and you're gonna find new friends at your new team. But the real ones will always last. And so a real draw to come into play for New England was him. He was already here, and I said, I want to go play at New England so I can play with AJ again, and our families can hang out and be together, and we can play a little bit more. And so yeah, to answer your question, I mean, it's hard sometimes, but you got to do what's best for you and your family in the moment. And it's at the end of the day, it's a business, and you can't make decisions, for friends. Your friends will always be there. You got to do what's best for your family. And that's
well, Cindy Salas, corporate America is no different.
Yeah.
People come and go, and it's a shame because you build some great teams. We have a lot of distributed teams these days. Distributed meaning, all virtual meetings, distributed around the world now because people are working from home, but that may be Mexico, Colombia, wherever, no? But you're right, and the true friendships will stand the test of time. I think it's also a testament that it's not just a paycheck for you, but you also love being here. I'm wondering if they failed to mention to you how long the winters can be here.
Yeah, well, before this, I was in Toronto, so.
Oh, okay, but that was all indoor, right? Were those indoor pitches?
Nope, they're outside.
Oh,
wow. Yeah, and it was very similar weather here to Boston.
Okay.
I think it snows a little bit less in Toronto, but it gets colder, maybe like 10 degrees colder.
And longer, and longer.
Yeah.
Omar, you talked a little earlier about mindfulness. Do you have any recommendations for books or videos or apps, which we're living in the app era, like that you use that have kind of helped you kind of get through the tough times when you didn't really want to bring this to your wife, even though she's your companion for life? Some things are just, you can work through them yourself. Do you have any kind of recommendations along those lines?
I've just been sort of doing the same thing for so long, and it's just just a mindfulness just on my breath, and just it's more of a focus mindfulness. Basically, I just am aware of every time my mind wanders. So I start counting my breaths, and every time my mind wanders, I bring it back and I start all over again. And it can be frustrating, but I just keep repeating to myself, no judgment, and that's helped me a lot. Because if I can be aware of where my mind goes, I can be aware of when my feelings change. I can be aware of what I'm feeling, and when I need to, take a moment, or just, in any heated situation, I can have that quick moment because of my training, because of my mindfulness training. I can react in a better way than maybe if I didn't train my mindfulness. And so that's what I've been doing. It's something that I started working with maybe like in 2015 with a sports psychologist. And so I was one-on-one training. And so I don't have a book or an app or anything like that. And so I'm sorry, I can't give any recommendations.
No, it's great. So I'll share with our attendees, our guests for this evening. I had an aha moment with meditation several years ago. I had a lot going on personally, and it really was an aha moment. I was introduced to this one. Maybe Alberto can type this into the chat. I'm sure people know of it. Headspace, super easy app to use. It's exactly what it is. It's just kind of going back to your breath, centering yourself, taking care of yourself, even if it's just for 3 minutes or 5 minutes. Eventually it's a practice, right, Omar? You have to build it and build it. And you said there's going to be some bad days. It's like, oh, my mind's all over the place, but it's okay. As long as you stick to the practice, and tomorrow will be a better day. And I think that's a great app. Insight Timer is another great app that is, for the most part, pretty free to use, and helps you kind of begin your practice in meditation. It's never too late in life. In my tender 47 years of age, I can tell you that I wish I had found this much earlier, but here I am, and it's looking forward. And I think those are the things that can help us be top performers in our industries, whether again it's finance, professional sports, or medicine, or what have you. I think we all show up for game day every day, and many times it's really important for us to bring our best selves, not just to represent who and what we stand for, our values we stand for, but also to make that positive impact we're looking to make in our jobs, whether it's contributing to the proverbial bottom line, or helping a patient with feeling better, or entertaining a large crowd, specifically in stadiums. It's we all have a game day that we need to perform. Omar, you've been an amazing guest. I'm so glad I had this opportunity to speak with you and just shoot the breeze and share with our audience really just the aspects of mental health, and that it is very similar, being a professional football player in the sense that you have to show up for work every day. You have your uniform, you have a routine that management requires of you, and then there's a performance. And I think there's a lot of parallels and professionalism along the way. And I think mental health is something we need to continue to bring forth to light, especially in the Latino community. No, I think for us, it's in this respect, we're always a little late to the party in that respect. No, suck it up, mijo. You know, it's not the end of the world. Well, you're right, it's not. But I mean, having a bad day. So, all right. And it's being that change, that catalyst in our new youth and your children. Mijita, it's okay to have these problems. Let's talk it out and talk to me and talk to your mother, and really embracing that we're never going to be 100% mentally, and it's okay to ask for help. So I, from the bottom of my heart, really appreciate you sharing with us a lot of personal themes and just your journey as a professional athlete. On behalf of ALPFA, I wish you all of the best in your career. I know that day is going to come. You just got to keep at it, and you know, yeah, it's professionalism at the highest level, and we're so proud to have you as a Latino representing us on the New England Revolution. Eberto, I'll kick it back to you. I don't know if there's any closing remarks, but Omar, te mando un abrazo. Thank you so much. I hope we meet again soon. And thank you to the audience for your questions. They were fantastic questions, and I'm glad we were able to get through them.
Yeah, I'd just like to say quickly, you know, te mando un abrazo también. And I think you said it beautifully. Mental health has helped me tremendously throughout my career. It's still helping me now. And I know I'm going to need it for the long life I have ahead. And I'm a big believer in when you're happy, you perform better. And so if you can find your happiness, do whatever you can to find what that is, or what makes you happy, because you will perform better. And that's the truth. I've experienced that. And thank you so much for having me on. I wasn't aware of your organization, but I'm happy that I have friends now, and
you have an ALPFamilia, and we're going to see more of you, my friend.
All right, perfect for when my next journey starts. I know who to go to. So thank you very much.
Be here.
Definitely. Thank you, Jorge. Thank you, Omar, both. It's been a great conversation. This is going to be posted on Facebook, and also we're going to share it with you, Omar. Again, welcome again to ALPFA. I know it's kind of funny because a lot of Latinos do not know the organization, and we have been here for over 50 years. So this is just one of the motivators for us to keep doing these conversations and having these spaces for us to recognize each other, to welcome everyone. And so yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for everyone who attended today. Please do not forget that the next month we're gonna have Latina presentation on self-advocacy. It's a workshop that's gonna be hosted by one of the amazing Latinas that we have in Boston, Ileana Rojas. This is going to be an opportunity for you to explore your confidence and how you make a strategy for you as a woman in corporate America to be more visible and to have a strategy to elevate yourself. So more to come on that. We'll keep you posted through our newsletters and social media. And until next time, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mara. Thank you, Flores. Take care.
My pleasure, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Ciao.